Peace be with you. My dear friends, today we are in the third Sunday of Lent. And you and I should know that when we are into the third Sunday of Lent, Proverbs chapter 28 verse 13 says, "You will never succeed in life if you try to hide your sins. Acknowledge them and give them up, then God will show you mercy." Today we find in the first reading the Israelites complaining about all the little problems that they had, not acknowledging their sins but complaining about all the various things that took place and that happened in their life. And therefore you find Moses, who now brings this beautiful gift of God's protection, where in the book of Exodus chapter 17 we see, despite their ingratitude and mistrust, God accompanies His chosen people, the Israelites, by providing water from the rock in the desert. Desert is definitely not a place for water, but God provides water in the desert. And therefore the impossible becomes possible by Yahweh. And today if you look into the first reading, you find Jesus meeting a woman at the well. When we want to look at that beautiful passage from John's Gospel chapter 4, we have to see why this water is given so much of importance by John in his Gospel. I'd like to take you back to the tsunami that took place in India. When the tsunami struck and when there was so much of water all around, there was one particular association, an NGO, who didn't want to give money, didn't want to give clothes, didn't want to give food, but all that they did was to supply drinking water. And when they supplied drinking water to those people who were affected in the tsunami, there was so much of love, peace and joy because they received that fresh water, that drinking water, that water that was not available. And today when we see Jesus Christ at the well, the woman comes. She comes there near the well. And there you find her wanting to draw water, and Jesus says, "Give me some water to drink." And now you look at the beautiful aspect of that woman. Now when we look at the well, could it be a symbol of deeper and inner depth, the deepest level of our consciousness? The woman at the well has to get into the well. Now we see that she keeps herself well covered, hidden from herself and from the rest of the world. Jesus has to lead her into that depth. It is interesting now to see how Jesus touches her personal life in a very smooth way, in a very gentle way, and in a very delicate way. He touches her personal life. And when He touches her personal life, it affects her. She enters into that depth of her life. She knows what she is made of. She knows how she has been living her life. And therefore, living around with the society, with the family, and with so many people, the meaning of life was not seen. Jesus comes, talks to her very personally at the well, and in the inner depth of her life, He touches her. And when He touches her, she then responds. She responds by saying, "Lord, you want me to give water? Where is the bucket? Where is that container?" Now the transformation encounter takes place. What is that transformation encounter? Now Jesus has touched her very personally, giving her the freshness of life. And therefore you find people who received fresh water in tsunami, who were affected, received that beautiful gift of fresh water. This woman caught up in life, not knowing what is the most important in life, she now comes to receive that fresh water from Jesus Christ. Therefore, we look into John's Gospel again in chapter 6. Jesus says, all those who are hungry will come to me. All those who are thirsty will come to me. Now, those who are hungry will be satisfied. Those who are thirsty will receive that faith. And therefore, one who receives that faith will receive God's blessing. Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Now, when we link into John's Gospel, chapter 4 and chapter 6, Jesus says, whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Now, this woman gets that transformation. She starts believing this man. She starts believing every word of his. She starts knowing him. And therefore, her thirst slowly, unconsciously is being satisfied by Jesus at the well. Now, the most important aspect for each one of us today is that this woman at the well has been given the gift of realizing who Jesus is. And therefore, you find Jesus Christ coming into her life and opening out her life and also opening out his life to her. And thereby she starts receiving more of him. Now we find Jesus Christ a dialogue with this woman. Today in the world, dialogue is very, very important. Today, if there is no dialogue, the world will not exist. But if there is dialogue, it is important for each one of us to make relationships. Jesus makes a wonderful relationship with this woman. A relationship which increases evangelization. Therefore, we know dialogue with religion and the need for each one of us to dialogue with others. For we know faith is coexisting with other faith. All men, all women form but one community. Our country, we know we live in with so many other religions. The interreligious dialogues will help us to reveal Jesus to others. The Catholic Church rejects nothing of what is true and holy in other religions. She regards for the manner of life and conduct of the other religions. The Church therefore urges her sons to enter with prudence and charity its discussions and collaboration with members of other religion. This is what Jesus did at the well. He meets this woman. The woman is a Samaritan woman. He doesn't regard himself a superior man and she being an inferior. But here with prudence and charity, he has a discussion with her. And today, my dear friends, the laity in the church being 99%, the interreligious dialogue should make it necessary for the laity to be in the front line for these dialogues. Why? A serious step should be taken up. Just like how Jesus goes and forces himself with a dialogue with a woman, a Samaritan woman. She objects, but he doesn't. Today, you and I have to take the step of going, meeting people, dialoguing with people. As we know, the laity is the leaven of the society, and they play a very decisive role in removing obstacles which hampers the steady progress of churches evangelizing mission. That is why, my dear friends, we look at this beautiful gift, what Jesus has. He has given us this message, the message of three important aspects. The first important aspect is primacy of God experience. This woman experienced God. She was at the well talking to a Jew, but she experienced God. We need to become much more God seekers, and people should see in us as God realized people. Now, this woman at the well, when Jesus was talking to her, now she becomes a God realized person, and therefore now she is well equipped, deeply rooted in the experience of God, for her to go and speak about God. So the first important aspect for each one of us is the primacy of God experience. The second aspect for each one of us, our way of life should be a prophetic witness, not just an ordinary witness. We are all called to be prophetic witnesses. People today appreciate more the visual manifestation of religious experiences in the life of the individual and of the communities than a mere proclamation of gospel in words. They like to see in action that this individual, this community, these people can reveal God by their actions. Therefore, the second important aspect for us is to be a prophetic witness to the world. Look at this woman. She is an ordinary Samaritan. Now, after experiencing God, she now becomes a prophetic witness. She goes and tells people. She goes to her country. She goes to her own house to speak about this man, Jesus, the Son of God. She says he's a Messiah. She says he will bring salvation. She says he can save you. Therefore, now we exactly know that she gives a prophetic message to all. The people in the town also say, we know him. How? Because of her visual manifestation. They could see in her the visual manifestation of Jesus encountering in her life and how Jesus has changed her life, and now she's able to exhibit them. In our lives also, we have to exhibit what Jesus has done for us. Don't keep it within yourself. Rather, tell people what he has done. Consciously or unconsciously, you have to show that to others. That is exactly what prophetic witness is. The third important aspect for each one of us is a deeper commitment to the transformation of the society. Now, Jesus, when he meets this woman, speaks about her personal life, tells her how she was, and now she becomes a transformed woman. And Jesus is the one who can transform an individual, transform a society, transform a community. And therefore, you and I have to also take up this task of transforming. Now, transforming our society is like rededicating the cause. There are so many causes in the world today, my dear friends. Look at the immigrants that are there. Look at the refugees. Look at the marginalized Dalits. Look at the tribals. Look at the violences against women. Look at the problems with the little children. There are so many ways you can rededicate and commit yourself for the transformation of a person, of a society and community. The last important aspect I would like to stress on, this woman comes with a jar to the well. This woman comes with a desire to take water back home. The Gospel of St. John says, she left the jar there and went to her town. This is what happens to us when we receive Jesus fully. We leave everything for that beautiful cause of his. It's not important that I have to be a holy person to do God's work. This woman, in the inner depth of her life, she knew what she was. Jesus does not point at her and say, "You are a sinner," but rather she receives that solace from Christ. And therefore you find that she is ready to become something new for Christ. She leaves the jar there. She is ready to take up Christ's life. And therefore she goes into the town to proclaim. Now she becomes a great proclaimer for Christ. And when Christ himself proclaims, she becomes a proclaiming. And you find how both gel together, thereby not leaving Jesus Christ alone. She goes there, leaving her jar, because now the jar is not important. Jesus who has entered into her life is important. Jesus who has entered into your life is important. You are God-realized person. You will have to manifest Jesus to others. You will have to become a prophetic witness to others. And you are the one who will transform the society. One of the prophetic witnesses that we see is the Catholic hub that brings the message of Christ to all Catholics. And today I am very proud that the visual and the media taken up by this beautiful people called Catholic Hub are doing this ministry, reaching out the message of Christ to all. And I'm happy today to give you this message on the third Sunday of Lent. May you always be nourished by the word that is passed on through this media. Amen. God bless you.